Hey football freaks, it's Alan. Just wanted to take the time here to let you know that this week's show is brought to you by Pretty Easy Podcasts. If you're thinking of doing a podcast, there is a way for you to do a show without having to become an audio editing master, a production whiz kid. You can just go to prettyeasypodcast.com and get your own personal producer at a very, very low cost. That'll be someone who can guide you, assist you, help you out with whatever you need to get your podcast off the ground. If you have an idea or a topic you want to talk about on a weekly basis, a daily basis, it doesn't matter. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com. Get started today. Take some of the hassle of starting a podcast off your shoulders and let the audio professionals at Pretty Easy Podcasts help you out. Pretty Easy Podcasts is where podcasters go to get their shows recorded and posted with a complete podcast studio at their disposal. Record from home or your office or anywhere, really. Pretty Easy Podcasts caters to your schedule and gives you a producer for your show at your beck and call. Go to prettyeasypodcasts.com, sign up today, be heard, have some fun podcasting, and don't let a lack of technical knowledge hold you back. Go to prettyeasypodcasts.com today.
This is the future. This is not the past.
The new XFL will kick off in 2020.
If you smell what the XFL is cooking.
It's still football, but it's professional football reimagined.
This is our moment, our story to tell. This is history begun.
This is the XFL.
Welcome, football fans. This is the week of August 25th, 2019. This is the road to 2020, and this is the XFL show. I'm Alan.
I'm Jake.
I'm Vince.
And I'm Bryant.
This week, the XFL revealed the 8 highly anticipated team nicknames and logos. This is episode 83, and it's time to choose your squad. We are only 24 weeks away from kickoff 2020. Here we are, Bryant. Team names, time to buy some merch, time to start some battle cries.
Alan, this moment right here, this week was 83 weeks in the making, and we finally have it now. Now that we're only 24 weeks away, a lot of time for people to choose who they're cheering for. I mean, you and I know who we're cheering for. We always do this.
Wildcats!
Yes. Yeah. Woo. Roar. No, Wildcats. It was a great day for the XFL this past Wednesday. And the momentum keeps rolling. It's been rolling throughout the rest of the week, and now I'm just anticipating. You know, team names are cool and all, but when's the draft?
Yeah, we know it's in October. I cannot wait, Vince. I'm watching NFL preseason games on the iPad as we do the show. I'm not going to be distracted, but I got to be scouting. A lot of great players out there, but a lot of injuries piling up in the NFL again, just like last week. I have no earthly clue which players are going to be available, but it's so exciting this preseason right now. But that versus team names, I don't know what to be more hyped for.
Yeah, last night, as of this live on tape program, I was watching NFL Network, and it was basically like red zone for the preseason. They had 6 games going on. It was great just to see, who was getting in, who was not getting in, who's getting hurt. I'm hyped for that, but this week though, I was hyped for these team names, these logos, the reveal videos. That's what it was all about.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I was watching Chad Kelly throw for the Colts, and I was just saying to myself, man, Jake, he'd look really good in a Wildcats uniform. Although we don't know what uniforms will look like yet, Jake.
No, we don't. Listen, this is enough information to last me probably to Thanksgiving right now. I know we're going to get drafts and other stuff, but what a week. And, we're going to go into each team. At least I believe that's what you have planned. I could just talk about one team. I think there's enough that can be said for at least an hour.
Yeah, I'm thinking there might be some team-centric episodes coming down the line. I don't know if we'll do them on Patreon or the free feed yet, Bryant. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, we're going to have to break each of these down in great detail. We're going to try to do some more today, but we already did a little bit on a post-show we did on YouTube, which we compiled along with a special pre-show and the actual XFL's announcement, all in a podcast on the free feed. If you want to go relive the historic day that was the reveal of the XFL team names and logos, it's all there in podcast form on our free feed. Just subscribe. This is the XFL Show if you already haven't. Tell your friends, of course, at XFL Show is where it's all going down on social media, Twitter and YouTube, especially on that historic day, Brian. Just not huge days for the league, of course, but also we had an awesome day ourselves. We want to thank everybody who joined the bandwagon and joined us on the road to 2020 on that faithful day.
Yeah, no, it was. I try to put it out there as simply as I could. It was one of the better days for us, and honestly, more importantly, for the XFL. So thank you to everyone who joined us on YouTube, who subscribed, who's following us now on Twitter. This journey is going to get better and better as we get closer to kickoff in February 2020, and we're happy and thankful that you're along with us on this crazy ride.
Yeah, if this is your first show, if you got sucked in on that big day with the team names and everything, and now you're just checking us out for the first time, welcome aboard. We're riding down the road to 2020 together. We're covering the XFL unlike anybody, giving you as much detail and commentary and analysis and news as possible each and every single week. We did a big day on YouTube, so you got to subscribe there as well. We put content there. And unfortunately, on that program, the post show we did, at least, Jake and Vince were not able to get on that one, Brian. So you and I yucked it up a little bit instantly after the team names were revealed. But I cannot wait, because pretty soon we're finally going to get to hear what Jake and Vince really think about the 8 team names and logos.
Yeah, Jake and Vince, you really have to join us more for these shows, because that basically turned into how cool the LA Wildcats logo and a team name was post the announcement. No, in all seriousness, we tried to break down. We were live. We were bringing in comments from the viewers live as well. So it was a lot of fun. It was instant reaction. I think, Alan, you and I might have a little bit more to give now that we've actually had more than 5 minutes to rewatch these videos and really let these team names and team identities sink in.
Yeah, I've been thinking about them more, reading up more about some things, history maybe behind the possible reasonings behind these. And we're going to dive deep into that this week on our hot read. We're going to try to give our own explanations, ponder what the XFL was thinking when it comes to these team names and logos, break them all down in detail. It's going to be a lot of fun today, so strap in, get ready. We are going to go through the 8 new baby teams. I'm so happy. What a week. Anytime you get a birth, it's a great week. So much happy. I got this glow. I feel so much joy. 83 weeks in the making. You're right, Brian. 724-5654-XFL is the number to call. If you want to voice your opinion and be heard on the show, you can call and leave us a voicemail anytime you like. Just call 724-565-4XFL. Last week's show was also a big one, a fun one. The first XFL player was signed. We're hearing rumors that Ryan Mount, the quarterback, is going to join. We had a lot of positive reaction to that particular episode. And then, of course, the YouTube stuff this week. I just want to also go back to last week real quick, Brian, because we said it on the YouTube channel. I think we need a dang old intern here to keep track of some of these things to help us out. XFL Superfan on Twitter saying, whoever they are, and said, I'll do it. We might have to consider. There's a lot going on.
Wednesday was one of the busiest days of my podcasting career. Waking up, cracking dawn, then headed over to Beverly Hills to rub elbows with Coach Moss and Heather Carrots, and then some more podcasting at night. It was a busy day for Bryant. And send in your resume or give us a call, 724-565.
To be fair, you and Coach Moss meet weekly anyway, so
well, it's been a while. He was in Frankfurt. He was enjoying his time out there.
Wednesday, you guys usually play pinochle at lunch. Right?
We're more of Jenga people.
How was Beverly Hills? So yeah,
plays Jenga at lunch.
a lot of fans attended these parties, these luncheons, and media people attended luncheons for each city. You went to Beverly Hills for the LA Wildcats luncheon, Bryant. How was that?
It was great. I mean, it was great to see some of the the personnel for the XFL Los Angeles team. Met some new hires. Met with the media. It was very professionally done. They had the whole viewing of all the videos. Coach Moss was very entertaining during that video presentation. They fielded questions from the media. It was a great presence from the LA media market. Great location. I got some insight on a couple things here that we'll probably share in a little bit. But overall, it was a great. I was happy that I was able to attend something like this to get a little bit of the behind the scenes behind this whole logo and team name selection process.
And yeah, I saw some of the clips, the elation of just the people involved with the team finally getting to, announce their team name. I'm sure a lot of them were holding it back. A lot of them might have not even known the team name until we found out too. So that was awesome to see. A lot of insight we got on social media from all the teams putting stuff out there. I also want to say, going back to last week, with the team names coming out and everybody getting hyped up on social media, so much back and forth. It was a really active week, trending XFL all week. XFL delivery guy, you rule. I couldn't have said it any better myself. If anybody caught that guy's video, I guess he was in the back of like a UPS truck, telling it like it is when it comes to people just waiting on team names to just speak negatively about stuff when, honestly, there are way more people hyped up for these team names and logos than there are anybody who's out there spitting vitriol on social media, because a lot of people just live to do that. But these logos and team names, I think, overall pretty well received, and a lot of people excited in each city. And Vince, I don't know if you caught this guy's video, but
I did not, but I need to.
Oh, you'd like
check it out.
Oh, you need to.
It's really good. Anything else we got from last week or social media or anything? Here we go before we dive into Vince and Jake's thoughts on the logos, Bryant.
Well, we did get some feedback. We did talk about Landry Jones being the first Tier 1 quarterback signed. That was only a week ago, if you can remember that. If you can even think that was only a week ago. But there was some feedback here, and everybody excited that the XFLs received their first quarterback. Still no other signings. I think we can all expect that not to happen until the end of the month. NFL cuts, though, happen at the end of this week. We might see some new Tier 1 quarterbacks signed in the next 10 days or so. So this train's going to keep rolling. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, some great feedback. And also thanks to quarterback from BYU, Tanner Mangum.
Yes.
For being a guest on our show. Hopefully we see him donning an XFL uniform come 2020.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking to him. He was a fun interview. Go check that out. That is up on the YouTube page if you want to just check the interview out. It was a part of last week's show. And here we go. It's the moment I've been waiting for this episode, at least. This week we did the post show. Jake's giddy. Vince is waiting in the wings, everybody. So on our cover 2 this week, we're basically going to do what we did for the post-game show, Brian, but give it up to Vince and Jake, who have yet to voice their reactions to all 8 team names and logos.
Where football goes to be reborn. Where football goes to be reimagined. Where one goes to find more of what they need. A place with endless possibilities and hidden gems. A place where only one's limitations determine how much is explored. A place that gives you all the football you can handle and more. This is the XFL Show's Patreon, guiding you to February 2020.
Here we go. First up will be Jake in this week's cover 2.
Going for 2. Go for 2 and the lead.
The floor is yours, Jake. What were your instant reactions to the videos?
Yeah, I know everybody wants to know. I think these were all good choices. Of course, I have my favorites, a top 4 and a bottom 4. But, let me just start and in no particular order go through Dallas Renegades. Listen, you're raising hell. We thought it was going to be from that teaser video that came out. And, the logo looks like they're going to rob a train. So, that's still good stuff. I wish they would have switched, maybe that Oiler blue primary color and gave it to Houston, and maybe Dallas could have took a darker blue or a gray or something. But, nonetheless, Renegades, good, fits it. DC Defenders, a simple logo, but I really like it. I like that crest they got going there. Houston Roughnecks, this is one that, if you want to go back in the archives and listen, I gave you two to keep an eye out for, and the Roughnecks were one of them. So clearly you got the, Oilers familiarity here. The LA Wildcats, I don't want to jump on this yet, but that's a great logo. Not even a Wildcat, but just that LA, I think most of us thought that was going to be Tampa Bay colors, but it was not.
You know what they call that LA, that the style of that LA logo, though? You know why you got to do that, right, Jake? We talked about this. It's iconic, that LA logo. If you're an LA team, don't you have to have that LA logo?
It is really pretty. I'll give them that. The New York Guardians, I don't know if somebody was playing a lot of Destiny, whenever they were naming the team, but it looks like a Sphinx to me. It's got those horizontal stripes. We thought this was going to be the Gargoyles. The Seattle Dragons, to me, this is clearly the most, the most out there, the most radical. I don't know if Seattle has a larger dragon population than other parts of the country, but that's what they're going with here. The Battlehawks, I think that's a great logo. Maybe a different name would suit it better, but overall I still like it. And then the Tampa Bay Vipers, you're not getting much there, and it's a very different color scheme from what's happening in that stadium already. But, very quickly, that's what I think. I do not think there's any duds. I think there are some better than others.
Yeah, you definitely have some favorites. That's how I felt initially. Jake, you're right. I guess you're coming out as one of the people who are anti-Battlehawk then, because that's my favorite name by far.
It's a little much. I love the logo. It may be the best logo.
I know it's a little much to you that all 8 team names were revealed at once. I know you can't even handle that right now.
I think that was a mistake.
Let's ask him the big question, Bryant. Do you have a favorite team now that you're rooting for based off these identities?
I do not, because I still want to see helmets and uniforms.
Oh man, that's what everybody's been listening to the show for.
I'll tell you that moment. There are 3 that stick out above the rest for me.
Which?
That is Dallas, DC, and LA. I think those are the best logos.
Okay, so here's something that I didn't, and I got this clarity when I was at the media luncheon, is that black is going to be predominantly the color for the LA team, and the orange and the red are going to be like the accent colors.
So like their home jerseys are going to be black, you think?
That's I don't know about that, but they said black is a part of that logo. It's not just the background.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that in all black, and then, it's some
orange and red
and red stripes or whatever. I can dig it.
It seems almost like, it sounds like almost reverse Bengals.
Bengals were
orange, white, and black.
They were all black sometimes.
But yeah, like a reverse. So if the Bengals were more black, maybe we're leaning towards that type of look. A Bengal is a Wildcat. I did a lot of research on Wildcats this week, Vince. Didn't have to do too many on Dragons. I already know all about them, and I'm sure you're super hyped that, Seattle wasn't the Sasquatches, but I think Dragons is a pretty good backup to Sasquatches. So I was okay with that.
How loud is that place going to be whenever they have that big inflatable dragon head with smoke shooting out of its nostrils and they run out of there?
Oh, I can't. It was my favorite video for the broadcast that they did with the dark water and the flying dragons through the air. I felt like I was watching the Never-Ending Story. Vince, what was your reaction to the XFL's joint broadcast with ESPN and Fox revealing these names?
Oh, I loved it. Colin Cowherd, Laura Rutledge, they delivered, no doubt about that. I wish that they would have talked a little bit more about them. They didn't really let them talk as much as I would have liked to see, but still a very good performance. For what it was, I thought it was very good.
And how about the team names? Did you pick a favorite? Are you rooting for a certain team based off of these identities?
Oh yeah, so far right now, given the coaches that we know about, the logos, the names, I'm behind the Dallas Renegades right now.
It sounded like Bryant's dog did not like that you chose the Renegades right there.
Not at all.
That's too bad.
It's all right.
I like
Sit,
the
boo-boo,
logo.
sit.
I have a hard time saying I'm going to root for a Dallas team right now.
Yeah, it is difficult, but yeah, I'll say this overall. I'd say, first of all, I'm happy with all the logos. I like them all. Some of the team names are a bit gimmicky for me, but at the end of the day, I think they're. What?
Which ones? You have the floor. Which ones are gimmicky?
I think the Defenders, the Guardians, and the Battlehawks. I think those are a little too gimmicky. They kind of scream, Arena League type team. Just not a premium brand.
Well, I think when we go through explanations and possible histories and ideas maybe that the XFL was thinking about naming these teams, which, this is just kind of research I did, Bryant did, we all have in the back of our minds. We're going to go through that, ask why for each city. I think if we talk it out, Vince, you're going to come around at least on Battlehawks. I think we got I think there's good history and explanations behind the team name, which seems to be the most polarizing of the group when it comes to the naming. Anybody complaining about the logos, though, you're right, is just looking for something to complain about. I think they're all well done.
And I can't wait to see these Renegades uniforms, with that Oiler blue. There's probably going to be a lot of, I'm guessing some white pants with a blue top. They're going to look sharp. They're going to be popping for sure.
Now, Ellen, out of these 8 teams, which one has the best shot of coming out the Holy Diver?
Oh, some Dio. Oh, man.
Would it be the Dragons just by default? Or?
You're putting me, they dive into the ocean. I guess, no, but...
No, wait, dragons aren't aquatic creatures, are they?
Yeah, dragons.
They can be.
Dragons love water.
Well, it depends on what type of dragon.
Technically, Godzilla's a dragon, I would say.
Is he?
I don't think he's a dragon.
Godzilla.
He doesn't fly.
Godzilla is a dragon the same way like a Bengal is a wildcat. It's just he's a part of the subgroup, I think. I don't know, because like Guardians could dive too, Jake, down from their perch. Roughnecks dive in. Yeah, they drill.
I think Roughnecks would like
Battlehawks.
Roughnecks listen to a lot of Molly Hatchet, and they're scared.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, this is great. I kind of got what I expected there from Vince. Vince, I'll ask you this. This is what my main question for you. I was interested mostly in Jake's reaction to the logos there, but for you, and in terms of rooting for a team based off of identities, that's not what only determines it for people. Do you think people will solely decide who they pick to root for in this league based on these logos and the team names, or is it like you put in coaches, players, location, and all that?
Yeah, and well, it's mostly going to be location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, for obviously for the hometown fans,
I'd say 80% of the fans. Maybe is that too much?
Well, no, I would say, I got no allegiance to any of these cities whatsoever. So for me, it's going to be, and maybe a lot of people are going to be like this. I don't think they're going to have a team. They're just going to be watching for the entertainment factor, and maybe they'll like how a certain team plays, and they'll attach onto them. But there's always those people out there that are, I'm going to pick the green team regardless of who they are.
That's true. Also, people will probably be rooting for whoever they have money on or are playing in XFL, in XFL fantasy, which is really the big day I know you're waiting for when it comes to the gambling and fantasy aspects of the league, which I'm sure will be closer to kickoff in 2020 than we are with these logos. But location probably number one, but these team names go a long way in the visibility and people, like Vince has been saying, taking things seriously. And for this week's hot read, I thought it would be good if we all have now spoken our minds on each logo, our reactions, instant reactions. Now we could maybe dive deep into it. I have some research that we've done. I've compiled it all that each of us have been throwing out back and forth during the week, and we could go over some possible reasonings. These aren't official reasonings. The XFL has alluded to some things, but nothing is flat out. No one's flat out and come out and said, Jake, we're calling them the Houston Roughnecks because it's an oil town, but that is, kind of assumed. And that's the easiest one of them all. The other ones may be a little bit more difficult to understand and explain. So we're going to try to explain them, talk about histories, possible reasonings, and just go back and forth after we play each team's intro video that we got to see during the big announcement. So we'll play those before we break down each and every single team during our hot read this week.
Blue 58! Blue 58! Go! Hey, Ric Flair! Ric Flair! Pepper, Flip, Caliber.
Motown, happy, jolly, drunk, Buster, Boomer, Tiger. I think he's got a hound too, Rodney, I think. B-19! B-19!
Hey, Seattle! Ryan! Orange 83!
And we're going to start our breakdown into each team identity with the team that I've just been obsessed with ever since this was announced, guys, because I don't know about you, Brian. Ever since they announced the Los Angeles team name, I've been prowling around the house, creeping and walking like a wildcat, jumping out at the fiance, scaring her, and then she screams and I go, Wildcat! That's my new thing. It's my new thing.
Alan, are you walking around all fours in your home now, up the stairs and down the stairs, around the corners and things like that, just making sure you don't get hurt? Is that what's happening? Because I've been doing the same thing, man.
Yeah,
that's how great this logo is. The Wildcats. I did speak with Heather Carrots on this, and it's try not to take it so literal, everyone. The LA, the way the logo came out, it was not so distinct and direct. LA is LA. That is why the LA's logo is the only one that really only has LA in it, or the city, I should say. So I love this. It's very LA, and don't take Wildcats so literal, because there's other wild type of things happening in LA. You can say that we're all Wildcats.
I mean, basically, that was the unofficial nickname for me and my crew whenever we were hanging out on the Sunset Strip back when I was in high school, Jake. We'd be.
I need somebody to verify that.
Me and all my friends would be raising hell on a Friday night, going to the whiskey, and they'd be like, "Oh, there goes that Wildcat crew."
Is that what it was like on Friday nights after the game, and you hit the burger
cafe,
and then you cruise over to the the Viper Room?
But no, we'd all be standing outside of the Steve's Burger joint, they'd be like, "Oh, there's the Wildcats again." That's what would happen.
Oh, actually, LA might have to rename the Viper Room to the Wildcat Room.
Would it be like a Wildcat Den?
Yes, exactly. Well, let's kind of get the feel for what the vibes that they're sending for the Los Angeles teams, and maybe dive into maybe why we don't take it so literally. I wasn't part of a crew called the Wildcats, but I see what Heather Carrots, where she's coming from. But let's see the official video now, guys. Play it back here for everybody, and then we'll break it down some more.
In the land of bright lights, far from the flash and fame, they've already begun to prowl, enter their den, and be dominated, run away, and be ripped apart. This is prime time meets primal instinct. This is showtime with a snarl. This is our time to roar. The LA Wildcats, Unleashed, February 2020.
I didn't realize they showed that graphic video of that Wildcat was getting down on a carcass there, Vince. It's going to be a vicious football team, Winston Moss's team.
Yeah. Talk about a team name that fits the persona of their coach. This is what it's all about.
Wildcat.
Yeah. This was maybe my favorite team name. You know, it was the most mainstream. I really like where they went here. LA Wildcats. It just sounds good. Big fan of this.
I'm interested in the marketing behind it. Bryant, you spoke with Heather Carrots, the Wildcats, not to take it so literally. So I think less emphasis on the cat and more on the wild is what you're thinking, huh?
How can you take that literally whenever there's a wildcat and it's roaring on the video?
I mean,
Jake, sit down.
Yeah, calm down, Jake.
Don't take things so literal, man. What's going on here? Look, it's the wild. What's a wildcat? What?
Is there a problem with or is there outlash against this name?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't get. What do you mean taking it literally?
Okay, so we did. So basically, what it is don't take it. It doesn't only mean just straight, a mountain lion or any type of cat that's wild. That's not what the literal sense. LA Wildcats, Alan. We can go through the history here if you want. Basically, it's a type of, the descriptive word of an activity or a person or a group of people.
Yeah,
wildcat.
like a wildcat.
It'd be such a wildcat
in the union.
Yes, great movie.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a common sports team nickname. Goldie Hawn coached the Wildcats.
Yeah,
in the classic high school football movie. It's a very common collegiate nickname, but it fits Los Angeles because I'd say you emphasize the name Wild, but also the history behind this. Doing a little bit of research here, and you'd find out that the Los Angeles Wildcats were actually a football team. And it was all the way back, it looks like, was it, Bryant, in the 1920s? That's insane. And the LA Wildcats were a part of the American Football League in the 20s. I guess this was the 1926 season, was their only season. A 6-6-2 record, according to the Wikipedia, doing some research there too. And the LA Wildcats were a football team, some would argue the first professional football team ever in Los Angeles, and now they're making a return in the XFL. You could spin it that way, Jake. I don't know if you're buying that, but that is a fact. There was an LA Wildcats football team once upon a time.
Yeah, I that's a big coincidence, even though people don't think you could quantify a coincidence. But yeah, I really don't think anybody was going back to sports data from the 1920s whenever they were thinking.
So you don't think they were pitching this in the meetings and someone's like, what about the old 1926 LA Wildcats?
Oh,
and
then, remember them, yeah?
Someone said, I've never heard of them. And then in the meeting,
what do young
said,
people like? The 1920s.
Yeah. I don't know if that's it, but if it is, either way, that's a cool coincidence, Brian, and that's something that I think you could promote. It's the LA's oldest football team name.
If it is a coincidence, don't tell anyone it is, because then that you could just say it just harkens back to the roots of Los Angeles. Again, the heart of what the LA Wildcats is the LA itself. It screams Los Angeles, and they did it right. The Chargers tried to do this not too long ago when they first moved to LA and failed miserably because they looked too much like the LA Dodger LA logo. So the Wildcats did a great job. The colors are awesome. Coach Moss was hyped. He's still hyped. He loves the Wildcat. He wanted an animal, something fierce, something like a predator is what he was saying. So I'm happy that the Wildcats are going to be representing Los Angeles.
Now, when Vince McMahon was settling on this idea for the team name, what do you think he was saying?
I'll tell you what, this much right now, based on what I'm hearing and what I think, I don't even know if Vince McMahon knew the names of these teams.
Whoa!
He knew.
No,
my God, he definitely knew.
He had the sign off.
Yeah.
Why? What makes you say that?
Well,
that's kind of a big statement there. The man putting up all the money for the league.
Sarcastic here.
Yeah.
Look, I'm being a little sarcastic here, but basically what I'm trying to say is that the fact that the XFL was able to keep all 8 of these names a secret. Coach Moss, the video, Alan, I think we were going to play it. I don't know if we still are or not.
Yeah.
The video of Coach Moss celebrating is a legitimate video. He did not know the name.
Yeah, because Vince McMahon came up with them. He made this video and he gave it to him. He said, these are the team names.
What I'm trying to say is that the fact that none of this leaked out, the way the XFL handled this situation was masterful. Nobody knew what was happening. I guarantee you most of the people, the inner circle for these logos was probably no bigger than like 10.
I do. Why would Vince McMahon not be in the inner circle?
I'm being. Oh my god.
He's
Stop taking it so literal.
I think we found the alternative episode title there, Bryant. But Vince McMahon knew Vince, but he's really just saying it to emphasize the fact that they kept this thing under wraps really well. How shocked are you that in 2019, not one of these team names was really leaked at all until the announcement, Vince? That's pretty big.
Well, Jake did know that the Roughnecks was going to be a team name, so I'm not quite sure.
So you're saying if you spend 30 hours looking at a little square that was 1 inch by 1 inch, you could figure out what the team name was?
Well, it just tells me, it was a tight circle and there were no stooges involved.
I think Coach Moss was just working Bryant the whole time.
They definitely had a good. There was definitely a really good loose lips sinks ships meeting beforehand, and everybody kept it under wraps.
Alan, you'll appreciate this. Jake, friends don't lie.
They did. No, they don't. Friends don't lie. Friends keep secrets if you need them to, and hey, they kept these all 8 of them pretty well. And I have a feeling I know why the Wildcats are named the Wildcats, because it just sounds so awesome when Coach Moss yells, "Wildcats!" which LA tweeted out at their official @XFL Wildcats Twitter account. Wildcats! That's good. Is that the official battle cry for the team, Bryant? Is it just going to be screaming Wildcats, or is it Go Cats Go?
Wildcat. I would say Go Cats Go probably. I hope they change the Wild Things song to Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Cats. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, this is LA. That's definitely happening.
Oh man. So
I would hope if they changed Wasp's Wild Child to Wildcats, I think that would fit in a little better in that region.
And that would go really well with the Sunset Strip motif there.
Yeah.
Jake, you're right. Yeah, that we've been talking about. All right, so to wrap up LA real quick, ultimately, why you think the XFL chose this name, I'm going to go with LA's a wild town, man, full of wild cats. And also that 1926 team, I really do think someone thought of that. How about you, Vince?
I think it just sounds good. LA Wildcats.
Jake?
I think it's just a cool universal name that could have worked in any one of these cities, and LA lucked out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, Wildcats is a great name, but it works best in LA. How about you, Bryant?
Oh, I loved it. And don't forget, we could also play on I forget what the user was on YouTube that said it would be the LA Wild Carrots.
Yes. Named after the team president. That's also another explanation, possibly. Does it make sense? I think we all agree it totally does. And a last thing, real quick. Let's guess the battle cry. I'm saying Go Cats Go because that's fun to say. And also, fans chant that at Kings games, don't they, Bryant? So that kind of ties in, too.
Yeah, so the Kings go Kings go. The Dodgers are Let's Go Dodgers. So Let's Go Wildcats doesn't really have the same feel to it. So I'm going to say Go Cats Go. Rawr.
Or just everybody meow at the same time, right, Vince?
Yeah, just wow.
Mark that. That's going to be great.
Save that as a drop.
During the season.
Sharp teeth and claws. Don't forget that.
Yes. Los Angeles Wildcats. Sharp teeth and claws. I love cat teams. I'm a big fan of them. Let's go to the New York Guardians now, who Jake thought would be gargoyles. Close. Gargoyles are a type of guardian, I guess. They sit on a perch, and they guard the metropolis. But don't let me give you my words. I think the XFL put it pretty eloquently when it came to the New York Guardians. Let's watch that video now, guys.
Centuries carved of stone. Watchdogs over the metropolis. A prehistoric predator. A beast evolves, turned loose in a new kind of jungle. All teeth and talons, eyes unblinking. They know fear because they feed off it. They're your first line of defense, and there is no need for a second. The New York Guardians, on duty, February 2020.
Now, on duty, that's a good tagline.
On duty? I mean, that's cool for a t-shirt, but it's not like something to chant. Jake,
Well, no, they're not, I didn't say they're going to
On duty. On duty.
No, but
a lot of that.
the video was awesome. I have a question, though. Do you guys think they're using footage from the old XFL whenever they show like players in black and white? Did you notice that at all?
I was looking at those helmets to see if Antonio Brown could use any of those, to be honest with you. But
Was that old? Was that old XFL footage, or do you think like stock? They found that
I
on.
don't think so.
I don't know.
I think
maybe they had like a
capital.
talk with Roger Goodell or something. But hey, do you have any old like football videos we can use?
I mean, I'm just wondering. A lot of that, that imagery, those gargoyles, those stone creatures, looks like something you'd see on, like an apartment building outside Dana Barrett's room or something like that. They really, at least for me, they really swerved me on this one. It's
Swerved.
so much gargoyle imagery than they call themselves the Guardians. The logo kind of looks like looks like a cat to me.
Yeah, gargoyles can look like cats.
Gargoyles just look like gargoyles.
No, they could look like all kinds of beasts.
Now, if I remember this logo correctly, it was only the little like the
Just like
eyebrow
the
or
ear.
whatever that is, right? Yeah, just the ear of the whatever this is, the Guardian, I guess.
I mean, just quickly to point this out, that ear logo. Now that you see the whole thing, they're kind of cool. They're using that negative space to kind of make a G. On
Yeah.
the Guardians also.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Although they snuck the red in there too.
Yeah, a lot of these logos have, I guess, subliminal references to other things in the city, or the city name, or a letter for the city. Right? You could see that in a lot of these logos. That's what makes them great. The logos are I'm going to say amazing, especially the St. Louis, the LA, and the New York logos. To me, they really stand out. I mean, these are really well done. I just noticed that, Jake, you pointing that out, and that's what's really fun. Looking at all these, I'm looking for those kind of little references here and there inside of these logos. That's what tells the story of the team. I'm gonna go kind of off the rails here and guess why personally Guardians fits in with New York. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Guardian Angels organization, but I referenced it on the YouTube post show, Bryant. So this is kind of like a civilian patrol that started in the 70s. And these guys like dressed up in like all red and berets, and they would ride the subways, and they would, like kind of look for people doing devious things. Back when New York City was pretty dangerous to ride the subways. So they're the Guardian Angels, and I mean, that's kind of tied into the city's history a little bit. They're New York City based, so that made sense to me. But I mean, you could also just as easily, Jake, say, well, the Guardians of the Galaxy are really popular, let's use that name too. I don't know what the exact reasoning was, but I'm digging Guardians. I think it makes sense for the city.
Yeah, and everybody's pointing out the connections to to WWE, Vince McMahon's primary source of income. I didn't hear anybody talk about the Guardian Angel. And this man, Ray Traylor, Vince, I'm sure you're familiar with, that angle.
Yeah, and that what Alan just described, the red jacket and the red beret, that's exactly what he wore.
I'm pretty sure that didn't factor into naming this team, but it's just something to put out there.
But it does bring up a question I wanted to ask you guys. What do you think Vince McMahon was saying whenever he pitched this name to the committee?
I don't think he knew the name of all the teams going into this.
Oh my
gosh! Why would you say that?
Am I having deja vu? Are we still on LA? Also, I have a feeling people were pitching to Mr. McMahon a little bit there, Vince. I don't think he was lining people up in a room saying, what do you think?
Well, what do you think his response was whenever somebody pitched him this name?
Show me a logo. And then he got this logo, and it looks pretty good. And I
like G in the ear, pal.
I'm just happy that it's got these Gotham vibes for New York. I always love whenever we talk about New York City in this kind of Gotham, dark, but humongous metropolis type of vibe. I like it. It's all tied in really well that way. It feels very comic booky, but not gimmicky, Vince. But you said Guardians was one of the gimmicky names to you.
Yeah, I think it is a gimmick. It's just because you hear the name Guardian, or what the hell is it? So that's
it could be anything. Vince, it could be a parent.
That's a problem.
It could be a dog.
Yeah, you need to tell people what it is.
You want it to be the New York Legal Guardians?
Yeah, that could have worked. I don't know. Like I said, great logo.
That could look great on a helmet, Alan. You pointed that out.
Yeah,
right,
the
Vince?
helmet. I'm sure the uniforms and the helmets are going to look great. Just not feeling the name, but loved everything else.
You think Coach Gilbride will be wearing a red beret on the side? With a headset over it.
That would be,
Alan, you're good friends with them, man. I would bring him one if you can. See what happens.
That would be epic. Oh my goodness. We need to get Kevin Gilbride wearing a beret. A headset over a beret would be amazing. Man, I don't know. I'm not exactly why the Guardians was for sure picked, as with most of the cities, but I have a feeling it has to do with that history of, Guardians of, the Guardian Angels and that kind of connotation. I'm not, who knows? You guys have any reasoning why it is Guardians, Jake? Do you have a guess?
I mean, like I said, I mean, I was kind of joking at the head of the show, but it's a very popular video game out. That's kind of what the good guys are referred to in the game, the Guardian. They're protecting the Earth, so maybe they're protecting New York City and the Meadowlands.
Guardians and Defenders are very similar, though. So if you had to choose one, where do you rank? Where do you rank the team names?
I would want a Defender over a Guardian.
So you're leaning DC.
Like if one of them had to protect me, I think a Defender could kick more ass than a Guardian.
Bryant, where do you rank the Guardians?
I'm not ranking. What?
You're not ranking?
We're not ranking. No, we're not ranking on here. That's for Patreon. Get out of here. What are you talking about?
Okay. All right. That sounds good to me. So, battle cry. Anybody got a guess for the Guardians battle cry?
Guardians. Guardians.
I don't know about that, but
no.
I don't know about that one. That's too long. But I think Vince, maybe they'll just call them the Girds.
I was gonna say, yeah, guards or girds. Yeah, that's what they'll be.
Although gird is terrible. Nobody wants that. Trust me. Let's move on.
Could these be the new G-Men?
Oh, you're right.
Depending.
In the video, if this was 2001 XFL, I have a feeling that video would have said New York has some new G-Men ready to watch over the city.
Yeah.
Do you think their mascot will be a fence player and he's just going to be like, on guard?
A fencer?
It's a gargoyle. I feel pretty confident saying.
Oh, so not even going to move.
Big stone creature.
At night, it will move.
You around.
As soon as that sun goes down,
with
watch out.
A very wide wingspan on it, too.
Jake, I need you to keep track. I have a feeling the Guardians are only going to be good at night. If they play day games, they're screwed.
Well, we'll have to see what happens whenever the schedule comes out.
I'm actually, Bryant, you gave me an idea. You gave me an idea there, Bryant. I think that's a good battle cry. Thrust, parry, thrust, parry. No, probably not. All right, let's go on to the DC Defenders, which we said similar kind of name to the Guardians, but they're guarding New York City. What is DC defending? The Constitution,
America,
the nation. Who knows? But there's a lot to look at in this awesome shield logo. And I'm just going to have to buy merch for all the teams. Even though I'm an LA fan, Brian, I think I'm going to cave. The merch, as of the show releasing, there's merch out on XFL.com, right? I definitely need to pick up a DC Defenders gimmick. Hat, shirt, I don't know. Anything with, this is one of my favorite logos.
Oh, it's going to look great. That crest is going to look great on a jersey, on a helmet, on T-shirts, on hats. I would say this one is probably the most MLS out of all of them.
I was just gonna say that whenever I go.
But they did incorporate the D and the C in those lightning bolts, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. The Defenders, DC. I love that they didn't go with Washington and they stayed with DC as well. This one was well put together. The name is but the way it's put together makes it a way better.
It's a very good logo. Like I said, it's definitely in my top half of logos. But it does look like, which it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it does.
And I was right there, right, Bryant? You could buy a DC Defenders piece of merch, a hat or something online. They're selling them already, huh?
As of if you're on the Patreon, no. If you're listening to the regular stream, yes. Saturday, August 24th, the merch goes on sale.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to have to get me one. All right, let's go to the video here and see the official DC Defenders presentation.
On the shoulders of giants, they stand tall, unconquerable, unyielding, marching ever forward, a force united. One quest, one purpose, one resolve. Seeking glory through grit, victory through valor. The DC Defenders, taking their stand, February 2020.
I feel like such a bozo. I did not realize that you could see a DC in those lightning bolts. That is awesome! Oh my god!
I just told you that.
I know that, but I was listening, but I wanted to see it for myself. We just played the video back. I was looking at these logos so closely for stuff like that. Man, I'm terrible at those visual tests. I'm gonna chalk it up.
Well, LA's no gimmicks. They go straight up and just tell you, "Hey, look, here's an L and an A. Like it."
Oh, you didn't?
But it is pretty cool.
You didn't notice that it has a wildcat eye inside the LA, and a fang and a nail? No, I'm kidding. There might be. I don't know. I'm terrible at this. The
video package was pretty good. This one might have been one of my favorite video packages. The way it was presented, like I said, the Defender's name on its own is a little but when you put it all together, the alliteration, the logo, the colors, even the font that they used, it looks pretty good.
And awesome use of the stars and lightning bolts, which tie in with military defense, land, sea, air with the lightning bolt, and I mean it's really well done. Also, gotta love the alliteration, DC Defenders. Mauro Ranallo would be proud of that, Vince.
Yeah. Do you think that that's what Vince McMahon really liked whenever this idea was pitched to him? What do you think he was saying?
I gotta believe he loved the logo because, and obviously when you talk about the military and defense of the country and the capital of the United States, it all just makes sense, and it's a great reason why.
We can have one team the Defenders and one team the Offenders, right?
That would have been a gimmick. The Offenders. Oh my goodness!
I don't know.
No kids' moms would let them root for the Offenders.
That'll be the 9th team.
Team 9, the Offenders.
So do you think instead of defense, they're just gonna go team name, team name?
Defend.
Team name.
I mean, we don't know if these clubs are going to have mascots, but if the Defenders have one, do you think it's going to be a president?
I think it should be Dennis Rodman if we're talking about great defenders.
The Washington Nationals, they got the president. I don't know.
They got Teddy Roosevelt, right?
They've got 4 presidents.
Defender.
What if it was what if they just DC they picked a president, but it was something very obscure, Taft, Garfield.
No, I think there would be Minutemen. How about that? A bunch of Minutemen.
It's similar to New England.
I say it should be like Tom Cruise in Top Gun, like Maverick.
Isn't that reserved for the Battle Hawks?
Yeah.
Beginning to.
Oh yeah, you're right. Possibly. Man, mascots are a whole nother question. We need to get through these. Let's go to the Tampa Bay Vipers now. who the Viper is one of all. Did you know that 5 of Florida's venomous snakes are pit vipers, Vince? I learned that doing some National
I didn't know
Geographic
that,
research.
but I knew there was a lot of poison down there.
Yes, poisonous snakes all over Florida. I mean, Jake, it always makes sense whenever you have a team named after a predator that's indigenous to the region, right? That's just, you got to do that sometimes.
Yeah, that's just smart booking, really.
And I'm bummed though. I'm going to say that it's not pirate themed. I wanted the name Vipers. I know a lot of people were throwing that name out, speculating. I wanted that somewhere, but not Tampa. I wanted something pirate themed, but I'm okay with it because the V on a helmet's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Do you think they were just trying to stay away from, being associated with Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And that's really what did it in?
No, I think just
Maybe
ultimately
they couldn't find something as good as Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Vipers is a great name. Some team had to take it in this league, and it's. I think if you're going to talk,
Do you think they just reached into their box of names, Bryant, and picked and assigned?
Guys, what do you think? You think Vince was trying to think of names? He's like, Randy, what do you think a name should be?
Tampa Bay Vipers. Named after WWE superstar Randy Orton. Some people are saying, I don't know if that's my official explanation, but I got to imagine if you're going to ask the question, Vince, about Vince McMahon, what he thought when this name was pinched to him, he said, one of the 8 teams definitely needs to have it, for sure.
Oh, yeah, easily.
I think it's one of the best logos. It's maybe my favorite color scheme. I
love the fangs and the V. That is pretty cool.
It's very simple, and I know a lot of people, including some of us, thought that these were supersonic colors.
Yes,
originally.
I did. Are they Arizona Hotshot colors as well? Harkening back to the
Hotshots were like a more of a yellow and straight green. This is like a lime green.
Man, I can't wait to the episodes where we're not talking about colors anymore because I just sound really dumb. But the video for the Tampa Bay Vipers was not. It was really cool. It actually was the most terrifying to me. I'm scared of snakes, so let's watch the video, react to it some more, and introduce the world to the Tampa Bay Vipers. In case you hadn't heard, there's something slithering down in Florida.
In the shadows, they wait. Demons, born in darkness. Hunters, by instinct. Cold-blooded by nature. Their bite, unavoidable. Their grip, inescapable. They slither and stalk their competition, luring all who challenge them into the jaws of defeat. The Tampa Bay Vipers, ready to strike. February 2020.
I know Vince's wife's least favorite team.
Yeah, absolutely. She won't be watching them whenever they're on. Jake, I was going to ask you, did this bother you here? They're showing all these videos of snakes. They show, a rattler go on there. They talk about constricting. I don't think vipers do any of those things. I'm serious. Does that bother you?
Well, a little bit. Plus, you show a lot of the imagery of I'm not sure if those were crocs or gators. I would think they'd be gators.
Gators are in Florida.
Yeah, gators Florida. They're already in that state. But yeah, you show a rattle. Maybe that's, maybe for all home games, they're going to like pass out a little, almost like a maraca or something,
So I was at a high school.
Why aren't they the Tampa Bay Rattlers then?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was at a high.
I didn't make the video, but
Now, Brian, if you're saying Vince McMahon wasn't involved in this team name, I may believe you after watching that video again.
Maybe there was a process of elimination because the Vipers strike, and that's what they said at the very end. The Vipers are ready to strike. Forget all these other creatures that everybody's really worried about. It's Vipers that you have to worry about in Florida.
Well, here,
why didn't they say that?
Let me tell you. They said all the wording in the Tampa Bay Vipers video, the introduction of Tampa Bay's team, is correct when it comes to a Viper. The imagery, you can't get a good look at a Viper, so they had to use other more easily photographed and videoed snakes and lizards because Vipers are in pits in darkness. It's hard to get a glimpse of them. So I understand why we saw a rattler there. But
Vipers come out of nowhere. We all know this.
They do. Out of the darkness.
Let me try to shed some light on this situation. I'm on I was trying to do some information, some digging on Vipers now. This site is called Live Science. I'm not sure how factual it is, but they say here the family Viper die includes adders, pit vipers, and then in parentheses like rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, and copperheads. So perhaps Viper is
there you
just
go.
a more broader term.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of like how Bengals are wildcats, right?
Kind of. Yeah. But that constricting part really bothered me.
Maybe,
I really don't think they do that.
Let me read deeper.
So far, do you think, Brian, real quick, Brian, where do you rank the Vipers?
No rankings. Stop. What's wrong with you? I'm not ranking anything here. None of you are. That is going to be exclusively on Patreon. Bonus episode for the month of August.
Okay. Well, then I'll ask you, do you think the Vipers or the Defenders or any of the teams we talked about yet are going to have nicknames of the nicknames? Kind of like how they call, I don't know, some people call the Giants the Jints, or some people...
So these will be the Vipes?
They call the Pittsburgh Penguins the Pens. Yeah, maybe the Vips, the Vipes. I like Vipes. That's pretty cool.
How about just Tampa? I feel like every team that's from Tampa Bay is just known as Tampa.
You going to the Vipes game Saturday, bro?
Actually, I think they're going to...
I don't know if they say bro down in Tampa Bay too much.
I think they do. They say bro everywhere. But I think also they're going to be calling Raymond James the Pit kickoff 2020. I hope they do. I mean, I never want to go to the pit. I hope the XFL championship game is not there.
Oh, like players could jump into the pit when they score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Get in the pit and try to love someone.
Yes.
And all the Presto. We need to trademark that.
Does anybody think, like, maybe if the Vipers are on defense and it's 3rd and inches, instead of playing Hell's Bells, they'll just play, "There's a snake in my boots."
I got an idea.
Trying to really psych them out.
I got an idea for the fans sitting in the pit and for the team to maybe make some money off some merchandising. How about some those long like arm socks, but in the shape of a viper with a viper on it? Kind of, people can make the viper with their arm. Jake, you know what I'm talking about? Like an arm sleeve, and it's like a giant sock, and you make a viper with it.
Good giveaway to anyone 14 and younger.
I'd want to get one too. Those are cool.
Just think about it in 10 years from now. People are going to be like, "Hey guys, you want to go down to the pit with me this weekend?"
That is really like the XFL version of the black hole. I think, Vince. That's what that's going to be. That end zone down there in Raymond James Stadium, the Tampa Bay Vipers.
I'm not quite sure about that. I think if anything, that maybe the next team we're going to talk about is going to have the version of the black hole.
You mean the abyss? Let's go up to the northwest, where there are a lot of myths about sea creatures in the Pacific Northwest, from Oregon up through Washington into Canada. There are
most of them true.
There are Puget Sound monsters. There are Lake Washington monsters. I mean, America's Loch Ness is definitely somewhere up there, I think. And that's why the NHL team that's coming to Seattle wanted to name their team the Kraken so bad. But it makes sense for Seattle to be called the Dragons. And I think this is like some of the best writing I've ever seen for this video that came out for the Seattle team when they were introduced. Let's go to it.
Rising from the turbulent sea, beneath the darkening skies of their weather-hardened home. Relentless, Ruthless. Ravenous. Not of mythology, but of muscle and might. Not of folklore, but of football. This is your darkest fantasy in cleats. The Seattle Dragons, Breathing Fire, February 2020.
Meh.
Muscle and might. Not of folklore, but of football, Bryant. This is the coolest of the videos. I know it's going to be the LA rival for sure, Bryant, but I got to give it up. Seattle Dragons, it fits like just like an awesome glove that keeps you warm and toasty in the winter, so your hands don't get frostbite like Antonio Brown's foot. I love the Seattle Dragons logo, team name, everything about it. Well done. Perfectly done, if you ask me, Vince.
Yeah, I really like it.
And that's coming from a guy that wanted Sasquatches. I dig the Dragons.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I thought it was going to be something, forest themed, but I'm digging it. I
So
like
dragons
it a lot.
don't live in the forest?
Traditionally, sometimes they do, but these were sea dragons.
Yes.
Certain types.
Do you guys notice that the dragon kind of makes an S in the logo as well?
Yes, I did notice that one. That's a good one. But not a complete S.
Brian, he's only colorblind, not really blind.
Did you see how the logo kind of looks
Alan,
like a dragon?
did you see the dragon? I'm not here. I'm not ranking because I'm not doing that on this show. But the dragons to me were a little on the south side.
Out there for you.
Little too cartoonish.
Now, how could you say? I mean, defenders.
I know.
Not even quite.
I know why he's.
I said
Guardians.
cartoonish, not gimmicky.
Guys.
Cartoonish.
Guys, Bryant told me, he didn't say this yet, but he told me Coach Moss was making fun of the Seattle Dragons totally at the luncheon and was telling Bryant he needs to go on the show and bash the Seattle Dragons, LA's rival.
I guess off the record means nothing to you and I, huh? My head. It was a pretty cool video, don't get me wrong, and I think if it was Sea Dragons, I probably would have been on board more so.
That's
Again, I'm
gonna match the Seahawks.
I really do wish that this Sea Dragon actually made a complete S instead of half an S, so that way I could say it's full of S, but it's not. So it's all right. Vince, what do you think?
I guess I gotta ask here. What do you think McMahon was thinking? Well, I think.
Hey, Ricky, what should we name a team? Ricky.
The Dragon. I love it.
I think we should draw the logo. So we'll start at the top and then making a counterclockwise circle. Bring that down, and then in a horizontal line heading to the right.
Oh man!
And then on game day, we don't get a 2-foot. We don't get a 3-foot. We get a 10-foot dragon.
I mean, remember in the NFL Europe, there was a dragon team, the Barcelona Dragons, but that had more of a, I don't know, kind of like a folklorian design to it. They're much more European, I guess, than what we're seeing here.
This is an American dragon, if you will.
Yes.
And
how much did that factor in?
That it looks American? I think a lot.
It's an American dragon in Seattle.
It looks very American, this dragon.
Dragons are international, more so than anything else. A dragon is the international mascot of this world, and this is going to be your international team.
What does that mean?
People in Hong Kong or in Egypt, Cairo, are going to be cheering on the dragons because everybody knows what a dragon is.
So you think if we're
sans.
What does that mean? So if Earth was in like some intergalactic football league, we would be the Earth Dragons?
Yeah.
Yes, dragons. It's the one thing everybody can. You just said what'd you say? The Frankfurt? No, the Barcelona Dragons. Barcelona doesn't speak English, and they call themselves the Dragons because it's that.
Well, there's a lot of history of dragons over there. I mean, especially going back to King Arthur.
And you know how you spell dragons in Spanish?
Dragon. Same way. Yeah.
Same exact way.
Yeah, it's true.
Telling you.
The Seattle Ultimo Dragons.
This is really, I think, going to end up being my favorite of them all. Right now,
the pregame may be the best.
Yes.
In Seattle.
And everyone, I mean, I don't. Do we tweet that out, Brian? Does everyone know that I have this XFL Seattle T-shirt already?
I don't know if we did tweet that out, but if everyone's listening, they should know.
Yeah, I think that was just private.
No, well,
I just couldn't do it with you wearing that hat. I'm sorry, I really couldn't do it. I have to do it now, but
I was wearing I was wearing a flamingo hat, which is I think is a distant cousin of the dragon, isn't it, Jake?
Perhaps very distant.
The LA Flamingos, unfortunately, did not come to fruition. I can't wait for some Wildcats versus Dragons. It's going to be, oh man, that's going to be a rumble. This is really, I think, just perfectly fitting.
I was just going to say, is this the team name that's, people want to make fun of the most? People that are going to make fun of the league because they want to make fun of the league.
If this league doesn't succeed, it's because Seattle's Dragon.
Get what? Get out of town. That first off, that's not true, Jake, because most, at least from what I've seen on social media, most people are talking about St. Louis's team name, the Battlehawks. But we'll get into them. Let's go. Now we've got Texas. Let's go down to Texas next. And let's go to Houston, which I'm fairly certain Jake's going to end up being a Houston fan because he'd rather cheer for a Houston team over Dallas. And I know, Jake, you were digging this Houston logo, the Houston team name, everything that goes into it. And I think it's the easiest one to figure out why they named the team name the Houston Roughnecks. It's the easiest one to understand the logo. It's really well done and makes a whole lot of sense. Let's go to the introduction for the Houston Roughnecks.
Resolute, rippling with heat, railing against fatigue, unceasing and often unseen, they labor deep in the trenches, mercenaries in the muck, brawlers in blackened dirt, not just for 3 hours, not just when the lights are bright. These are the scratching, grinding, never-bending few. The Houston Roughnecks, going to work for you. February 2020.
Has anybody ever been to Houston?
Yes.
Yeah, I have.
Is this? I just picture that no matter where you go, there's something that's like metal being melted, oil spilling in the air.
Yeah, that's true.
Dirt being just taken from the earth.
I was driving to the coast, Gulf Coast, from the Houston airport, and there were like big balls of fire in the air on the side of the road. I'm serious. There's a lot of going on down there. And I love this team name. I love the video. I know, Jake, you were digging this as well.
I am. I'm not sure if they're going to be going to work for me or not. But I mean, Vince, Vince, you have to admit, at times that almost looked like a Val Venus Titantron there.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, it harkens back to the Oilers days and to the Texan days right now with that darker blue. It's they definitely nailed this one.
Pit watchers, boilermen, roundabouts, tool pushers, oil rig workers, finally getting represented again with a team name, the Roughnecks.
Yeah.
The drillers would have been cool too. They went with the Roughnecks. The logo obviously is very similar to the old Oilers logo. I believe there's even a team called the Tulsa Roughnecks that has a similar logo that plays in the USL, the United Minor League Soccer League. But Houston Roughnecks, so much more fitting. And also, the H is right there in the oil rig
did
itself.
You see the H? I was going to say, did you notice the H in the middle of the logo?
I caught that one.
Sure. That black H right in the middle?
It's red. I know that it's red, and I'm only could see it because it is outlined in white. But I love how do you think like the old owners of the Oilers maybe are seeing this logo and saying, "Dang it, I should have put the H in our old logo," because this is awesome. This is better than
kept the team here.
Star at the Texas star at the very top is unbelievable as well. It's a great logo. Probably one of my top 8 logos for sure. The Houston Roughnecks, though. Alan, what was my reaction when I heard that the Roughnecks were actually happening? You remember that we were talking during this whole thing? I used Vince language when I was explaining that the Houston were getting the Roughnecks. It was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, you were like,
I as many people. as many people wanted the Roughnecks, didn't think it was going to happen, and it did. Very different than what we've been seeing in a lot of concepts and things like that. But again, if anybody expected anything different out of Houston, I don't know what you were thinking, because this is the logo you were going to get in some way, shape, or form. And this way, the way they incorporate everything is great. I don't care if it looks like the Oilers or it looks like this. It's Houston is what it is. Similar to the way LA is LA. That's very Houston. So let's roll with it.
Yeah,
I mean, you weren't going to get the Houston House Cats or anything like that for sure.
Hardest team name and logo combination to argue against, I think. I mean, this is the most fitting, and I think it was the easiest one to come up with, Vince. It had to be. This is just perfect.
Oh, yeah. I've always said, the Houston Texans really dropped the ball whenever they came into existence by not getting back the Oilers name. And it's great to see the XFL capitalizing on this. I'm sure Vince McMahon really had a hand in this one. What do you think?
I just think everybody probably just said collectively at any meetings, Roughnecks, all at once, because this was just a very easy one. Or they yelled Drillers. I don't know. Or they probably said, can we use Oilers? No. All right, let's go Drillers or Roughnecks. Also to note, no, we're not getting any retreads of team names here from old football teams like we talked about, maybe getting the Bandits from Tampa Bay or the Oilers or something like that, Stallions. I guess you could say Wildcats, but that's kind of a universally used team nickname. But really, these are all pretty original team names when it comes to the cities and the sport of football and professional football at that, Brian.
Well, I guess people have to remember that even those names were first-timers at some point. The Oilers were the first time at some point, the Stallions, the Bandits, all that has history. The XFL is trying to make their own. I think when we were going back to the days when we didn't have much to talk about, when we were talking about where the cities should be, we all picked little cities here and there that we thought deserved a team, that were hungry for football. And nothing against Columbus, Ohio, or anything like that, because I believe we did pick them. But the XFL made decisions that were going to benefit them and make them stand out from anything else that's happened, right? And so the XFL stayed big city football. They're going with new team names. They just keep trending in this direction of, we're going to do what we want to do, how we want to do it, and what we think is going to be best for a new league, not what anybody else is. Why Vince McMahon didn't want to collaborate with the AAF as well. They're going to do this on their own. They're not trying to be like anyone else.
Yeah, or be like the XFL of 2001.
Yeah, the original XFL.
Yeah, This is all new merch to buy too, which is I guess on sale now if you're listening to the podcast after Saturday. I'm actually can't wait because we're recording this before it's on sale. I'm definitely going to pick some stuff up. I don't know about a Houston Roughnecks. I'm going to have to get it, even though I'll be rooting against them, Vince. That's what's tough about this league starting up. At first, I'm going to like all the teams, but I know eventually I'm going to have a deep hatred for some of these teams whenever they hurt my team.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
That's why you love football. All right, let's go to Dallas, the other team in Texas. Bob Stoops' team. They are not the Dallas Stoopses. They are named after, the people that made Texas what it is. The Newton Gang, Bonnie and Clyde, Sam Bass. They are the Dallas Renegades.
Deep in the heart of Texas beats a different kind of pulse. A spirit untamed. A swagger that can't be denied. Where big meets bold meets badass. This is outlaw country, inside the lines. This is hell on wheels, between hash marks. This is their home on the range. The Dallas Renegades, raising hell, February 2020.
Hooves and motorbikes and tattoos and a lot going on there.
Spectrum reached. Yes, the biggest spectrum reached by any one of these videos was the Dallas Renegades for sure.
When they show that steer that was getting ready to come through that chute towards the beginning, it just got goosebumps.
That's mine. Is that what you said, Vince? Vince, is that what you said? That's my team. Is that what you said right there?
Yeah, especially when they said hell on wheels between hash marks.
I mean, if there was ever a team that wanted, that made you drive faster and listen to Judas Priest, I think the Renegades, are that team. I'm wondering, it almost seems like they have to have motorcycles inside the stadium, just revving them up, after a touchdown or right before kick.
You think it's going to be like Hog Wild and they're just going to have bikers along the sidelines?
Yeah, some bikes at least, I would hope.
We've officially broken the record. We've broken the record for the amount of 80s heavy metal references by Jake on this show, so I want to give it up to Jake. I knew it would be the logo episode, Jake. I'm hyped for that. But this, bold meets badass. Like, they're going right out there. This Dallas team is going to be an in-your-face type squad, and they have the most hyped up head coach. I wouldn't call him the most brass head coach. I think Winston Moss is going to have something to say whenever he goes and takes on the Dallas Renegades. But the persona that they're building up for this team is pretty intimidating, Brian.
Oh, it is, but once you stand next to Winston Moss, nothing intimidates you anymore. That man he'll defend, he'll protect, he'll do whatever. He's the Wildcat of the league, trust me. Dallas Renegades, great logo, great video, great team name, really good. Alan, I'll be honest with you, if I wasn't in LA a Wildcat fan, I would have probably been a Dallas Renegades fan. That's how cool and awesome this thing really did.
Yeah, if there are impressionable youngsters out there who are choosing teams just solely based on the vibe that the team is creating with the identity there, I'm pretty safe to say that Renegades it's really cool. I'll say that. Cool. I'm hoping the mascots it's the bad boys of the league, you're saying?
It's the bad boy team. Yeah, angry.
That's why I picked them.
Angry young males, they're drawn to, things that society frowns upon, or their parents. They don't want them to get tattoos or drive motorcycles or, ride bulls.
Yeah, my dad wanted me to be a Battlehawks fan, but I like the Renegades.
This is outlaw country inside the lines. Come on, the Dallas Renegades raising hell. 2020. Like, this is ridiculous.
I love it. I'll tell you this, and you guys will probably back me up on this. I think Vince McMahon personally wrote this whole this whole video.
It is great. It is great copy.
I think the Renegades parking lot is probably where they're going to have the most fist fights, out of all the stadiums.
It's going to be really fun though, because they are building that whole area up there at Globe Life. To be really cool and really fun. They probably will have some rowdy tailgates for the Dallas Renegades. I'm going to go out right now and say it officially on this show this week. Let it be known that if I ever have a daughter, she will never be dating any Dallas Renegades fans or players or coaches or anything. This bad boy team. No, I'm digging it. I'm hoping the mascots are a real-life human man dressed up like that bandit. Kind of like how the Tampa Bay Bandits had a guy riding a horse with the handkerchief over his face.
I could see it being like the Texas Tech Red Raiders, but then I also could see Oklahoma State Cowboy and just like a man, but with like a really big head. That's now
plastic. I think a good way to get to hype the crowd is maybe right before the game. You have, I don't know, you have some type of object. So say you're playing the Defenders that week. You have a Defenders logo out there, and you take a branding iron, brand the Renegades logo right on top of it.
Hell yeah.
Man, you guys are really making me dislike the Renegades. They're just so brash down there. In big,
I'm not going to any visiting games down in Dallas.
I knew you guys would be afraid of us.
Branding a Wildcat.
So is this officially becoming that podcast? Oh, those guys, half of them are Dallas fans, half of them are LA fans.
You got the Seattle Dragons putting their logo into coffee while the Renegades are branding themselves with the red.
You know, there's a live Wildcat at the game, but the Renegades just chasing them around, branding them.
Do you think the Renegade will he have firearms or holsters?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Not even, no question.
Six shooters, you think?
Yeah. And then he'll shoot them up in the air whenever they score.
Pew,
Brian, we don't have that in
we don't have that in California. Sorry.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the Dallas Renegades, I think it's easy to see why Texas is
and by the way,
full of them.
Alan, the battle cry is just going to be the other team's fans. They're just going to be crying in the stands. That's pretty much right.
I mean, it's cool. You gotta always have, bandits or outlaws. It's Texas, so this is fitting. This is great.
You need to have every league needs a villain, and so far the Renegades are leading the charge.
I would call them the Oakland Raiders of the XFL. If the Pit is the black hole, but the Renegades as a team, as a collective identity, very similar to that vibe. Let's just hope their players have the proper helmets. All right, let's go to our final team introduction and break them down. The St. Louis Battlehawks, and the team that the city that has been just craving for some football and so hyped up on the road to XFL 2020, and they finally got their team identity. It lends a lot of connotations to a lot of different things regarding St. Louis sports. Let's go to their introduction, the birth of the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Winged warriors, preparing for flight, preparing to fight. They await their orders, then attack as one. Diving, dodging, swooping, striking. Their mission, create chaos. Their mandate, win at all costs. The St. Louis Battlehawks, cleared to engage. February 2020.
All right, question.
I got it. Good luck. Firing. Woo! Splashboard!
Bringing in some other show gimmicks, I like it. How long do you guys think before the Battlehawks move to be LA's second team? Any takers?
Oh, that is a low blow. Oh, boo. Boos. This is St. Louis all the way, man. There's a lot of St. Louis in the name Battlehawks. But I'm going to let you guys go ahead and vent and ask questions and contemplate why.
I was going to ask, maybe you've done some research on this. I have not. Does St. Louis have a history of aviation?
Well,
or, war in the air?
Well, let me explain to you, Vince, that the first transatlantic aircraft ever was called the Spirit of St. Louis. Now, took off from New York, but it was called the Spirit of St. Louis. We've had teams even called the St. Louis Spirit in the past, and professional sports have had St. Louis Hawks. That's right, NBA champion St. Louis Hawks, NBA title in 1958. The Battlehawks tie into kind of both of those, I think, with the aviation, with the Hawks being formerly a St. Louis professional team, a successful one at that. And also, the Battlehawk is a variant of the Black Hawk helicopter, and people in St. Louis hate the Blackhawks, but maybe they could get behind some Battlehawks. That's what I'm thinking. There's a lot you could explain it with there. Who knows which one it was, if it was any of them, but I think if you look at it that way, you can understand why Battlehawks came to be, and it's not as silly as you think. I think it's an awesome name.
Well, let me pull on that string a little bit more. I mean, what do you think Vince McMahon was thinking whenever this idea was pitched to him?
I don't know, and who knows what went down whenever any of these team names have been saying. But I got to imagine
this could be one of those ones that someone just threw out there and, as an idea, not thinking that it would actually go through, and then Vince is like, I like it, let's roll with it.
Or maybe someone said, whoa, that logo's awesome. And when you flip it upside down, you could see STL, which people pointed out real quick on the Battlehawk logo. It is cool. I can't believe a sword with wings. That's like the most badass thing I could think of. And anytime you put battle in front of anything, I mean, it makes it better. BattleBot, Battle
Vince.
Battletoads.
Battletoads.
Really, honestly, just think of how great it's going to sound when it's the Los Angeles Battlehawks in 10 years.
You need to quit it. You were going to have some St. Louis fans coming after you this week, Brian.
Look, here's my thoughts on the whole Battlehawk thing. And Jake, I'll be quick because I don't think people want me to talk about this too much. Look, the Battlehawks to me is a great name. It's St. Louis. Whatever a Battlehawk is, it doesn't matter because it's a bad-ass name. And St. Louis, if it's something that they created for you, that's great because now you have the first ever modern football team born and raised and brought to you in St. Louis. So this is going to be great. Look, take it as a hawk that battles. Take it as an aircraft that flies like a helicopter, whatever you want to do. It's a pretty cool name.
Yeah,
the logo's pretty cool.
Made in St. Louis. I think it's a top 4 logo, but unfortunately a bottom 4 name.
Hey, no ranking.
This whole stuff about if you turn the logo upside down, it spells STL. Well, then why wasn't it upside down to begin with? I think St. Louis is just happy to have their own team. I think they could have called them the St. Louis Corn Dogs, and they would, the shirts would be selling.
You're not saying that they mailed this
they would have been called Corn Dogs.
The fighting chitlins.
Oh, really?
Jake, you're not saying that the XFL just like phoned this one in, right?
No, I'm not saying it phoned in, but I think that's just a happy coincidence about the whole turning it upside down and it spells something.
Oh no! No way.
When are you going to see this logo upside down unless somebody's getting upended?
When the LA Wildcats are stomping mud holes on the St. Louis Battlehawks, those helmets are going to be upside down. You're going to see that.
We might have to remove you from the show for a couple weeks just to get the heat off us.
Let me just say this: team names are out now. Kitty gloves are off. There's been shots fired at St. Louis fans, at Seattle fans. People are saying things about LSU Tiger fans on this podcast now. Hey, everybody, with team names out there now, this isn't a real life football league. It's time to pick your squad and go. So that's what's happening, and I love the honesty. We had a lot of fun today breaking these all down. Before we get off Battlehawks, Jake, you got anything left to say? We know when we do our rankings, I got a feeling you're going to put them near the bottom, but
about the Battlehawks,
I think you just have something against St. Louis, but that's just me.
No, I don't have anything against St. Louis. Like I said, great logo, not so great name.
Look here, I'll just do this, and this is just in general for all the logos out there. We put out there on a poll on our Instagram to all fans, and really, New York with 78% approval rating. People love that one the most. Coming in last though, LA at 58%. That one kind of hurt, but it just gives us motivation to come into each one of your towns and leave with that W.
So LA got the least by not by a big margin though, huh?
Well, them in second place was 3 percentage points off. So I'll run it down real quick. New York, Dallas, St. Louis, Tampa Bay, Houston, Seattle, LA. Did I miss anyone?
Nope. Yep.
Seattle, DC, LA.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now. You sent them to us here. Oh, wow. Yeah, LA lost by a pretty big margin there. Wow. And people are more hyped. You see the few and far between people. People are vocal minorities saying things about the Seattle Battlehawks. I got your back, Battlehawks fans. Battle up, or whatever your battle cry is going to be. I'm digging it. I'm digging them all.
It's just that screech from the video.
Can I give you my rankings on these names real quick, Brian?
No, stop it. I know that's all you ever want to do is rank things, but we'll rank. We'll rank at the end of this week coming up, exclusively on Patreon. Check it out. It'll be our August bonus show for you Patreon members. We're going to rank all 4 of us. We're going to sit here and rank all 8 of these team names, colors, and logos, and we'll figure something out on how to get to the top one.
And I'm looking forward to that show. I'm looking forward to all the Patreon stuff we got coming up. We've got free exclusive Patreon stuff coming up that everybody needs to check out, whether you're a member or not. It's free to everybody. 3 shows. We've got 1 college football preview for the upcoming season, or season's already starting this weekend. That's up. We're going to have a fantasy football preview up and an NFL preview on the Patreon where we talk all football and tie it into the XFL and, of course, tons of stuff coming to the free feed as well, just like that epic time capsule. I mean, I can't wait for like a year from now. I think what was the date? August 21st? Every August 21st, I might go back and listen to our team name extravaganza podcast, which is the pregame, the announcement, and the postgame. That's up on the free feed. It is history, so go check that as well. Did I forget anything, Bryant?
I don't know if we can fit anything else in here, man. It was a big week for the XFL show. But again, this is all nice and good, man. But when's that draft happening?
Draft's happening soon because we're getting NFL preseason cuts this week, coming week, and then we're going to hear about some players, Vince, a lot of them.
Yeah, no doubt about that. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be in need of employment, and the XFL will be happy to oblige.
That's the next step, but this milestone was a big one, and we finally hit it, Jake. Are you happy it's over? The anticipation has come and gone. We've got our team names and logos, and it's on to...
It's not over. It's not over by a long shot as long as I have a voice on this program.
So there you go. We got plenty more to say on these, I guess. I'm just tired of talking colors, but I'll talk about the team names and identities. And fathers, keep your daughters away from those Dallas Renegades. That's all I got to say this week. And I guess, Bryant, just don't take things so literally.
Well, the end of this show literally is now. But yeah, normally try to take things a little more figurative than literally. Go Wildcats.
Yes. Go Cats, go. Go Cats, go. You got that literal. You got a battle cry to say as we're out of here, Vince?
Renegades. Renegades. Renegades.
Jake?
Is that Texas A&M or is that Tampa? I can't tell.
We didn't talk much Aggies on the program today.
All right. Well, that's all we got this week. Remember, you can follow us at XFL Show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave a review, 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. And tell your friends the XFL is happening. Now you can tell them about the team names. If they say, what are the teams, you could give them not just the city, but the team name as well. You could be like, the Houston Roughnecks. Well, that's a cool name. Yeah. DC Defenders.
I encourage everybody to do that because there's still a lot of people out there, believe it or not, that don't even know that this league is happening, and that is a major problem.
Yes, that is not good for your friends. They should know because they're going to love it. So if you're hanging out at the bar this weekend, you're going out with friends, whatever, and you want to talk football with them, let them know. Hey, the XFL's out. It's coming in 2020. And listen to these team names, man. And listen to this is the XFL show if you want to follow along. February is going to be here. How many weeks away are we, Bryant?
What are we at?
24 weeks?
24 weeks.
And we'll be kicking off.
And if you're that desperate, go to our Twitter or Instagram. We have a cool little randomizer there. So you can pick a team just by screenshotting on your phone. It was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And if you're just getting into the XFL, maybe this is the first time you listen to the program. If you go back into the archives, you could listen to 83 weeks worth of shows. There is just tons of great information getting ready for 2020. I can't wait to see it happen.
Yep, honest, that's true. All the shows are on the feed, and I did have an old college buddy hit me up this week who said, "Hey, I just heard you have an XFL show. I'm going back and listening to every single episode." So,
who was that?
It was some guy named Charles Lepresto.
No, shout out to Dan the Hitman Cini, who's going to be listening to all the episodes. And yeah, they're out there. If you happy binging all 83 shows you want to, or just, listen weekly. We just love that you subscribe and are following along on the road to 2020. We know a lot of you are new to the podcast this week, so welcome aboard and let's rock. And, hey, you can also call in. We're going to give out the voicemail a little bit more now, 724-5654-XFL as we wind down. That phone line is open. The show is over right now, but you could call at any time, voice your opinion, ask a question, and get on the show. We love to hear from you, 724-5654-XFL. Woo! All right. It was a big week. It had to be a long show, obviously, and I'm glad it's come and gone, and we can focus on players, though. So I'm super pumped. I've got that glow still, Brian. I don't know if it's ever going to go away. The team names were born this week.
Well, yeah, team names are cool and all, but when are the uniforms coming out?
All right, for Bryant, for Jake, for Vince, I'm Alan. This is the XFL show. Remember,
they're listening.
Thanks for watching and listening, XFL fans. Don't forget to tell us what you think in the comments below, or even better, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things XFL. Check out some of our other videos and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at XFL Show. This is the XFL Show is a production of Pretty Easy Podcast.